Welcome everyone. Welcome to Cucumber BDD with Java tutorial. This is your instructor Rahul Shetty. So in this introductory lecture, I'm going to explain some basic keywords like what is Cucumber, what is BDD, what is Selenium, and how Cucumber and Selenium can work together. So we'll see some basics in this lecture so that it will set stage to how to proceed in this course from the next section. Okay. So first thing you need to understand when you deal with the Cucumber is BDD. What is BDD? BDD stands for behavioral driven development. So this is one of the development approach. It could be any development. Let's say you are developing a web page, mobile app, or a backend database, anything. When you are developing something, first you have to explicitly define what you are developing, right? The content, how you are communicating is very important. So that is where BDD plays a key role here. Okay, so it involves usage of one common languages that enhances communication between tech people and non-tech people. Okay, so when you are developing a product, there will be one developer who writes the code and there will be one analyst or product owner who define the scenarios what to develop, right? So everyone should understand what they are doing. Okay, so developer may have his own terminology in describing the requirements and product owner may have their own terminology in creating the requirements. Okay, so without having any conflict, they can use one common language and one common format to understand and create the requirements. That is what we say as a behavioral driven development. So here, tests what we write, which could be requirements also, requirements or test cases. Here they should be more user focused and it should behave based on the system behavior. Now, for example, let me tell you one simple scenario here. So this is one of the BDD approach of defining a requirement or defining a test case. Given I'm at landing page. This is a precondition that user is on landing page of any e-commerce application like Amazon. Next, when. See, you have to highlight these three keywords here. When, what action a user is performing when they are on landing page. The action they are performing is searching for the product which does not exist. So for that action, what is the outcome? That you have to tell in then. No result messages should be displayed. Okay, so like this, what is the precondition? What is the action you are performing? And what is the output we are expecting for the user when they perform this action? So like this, we define our test cases and requirements so that way development will start and at the same time testing also performed. So for all those people, there will be one common document will be defined like this, where developer takes this as a blueprint to develop the product and tester also uses the same requirement language here to test. Okay, tester knows here like what is the precondition, what is the action, what is the outcome. Okay, so that is one of the development approach we use in most of the companies these days. I'm just throwing you a high level introduction on BDD here. So from the next lecture, we will again learn everything from scratch. There are a lot of topics involved in this BDD. So we will learn everything when we get progress in this course. Okay. Next, what is Cucumber now? So Cucumber is a tool or you can call a framework that supports this BDD process. So that means Cucumber will give you an environment to define all your BDD scenarios. You might think, what is the environment here? Okay, I can define simply in the text format here, but it's just not writing these three lines. There are a lot of things you can do with the BDD. Okay, now you can parameterize this requirement. Now when you search for a product, this product can be n number of products, right? So for X product, it should not exist, but for Y product, it should exist. So you need to parameterize your requirement. So there are a number of options you have like this, and for all that, Cucumber is one executable environment. It's a tool which supports writing your tests in the BDD format like this. Okay, and mostly people use Cucumber for automation. Why? Now, even this is the test case also, right? It's a requirement and it's also a test case for a QA to write automation test. Now, what QA can do for this line, given I'm at landing page, so they can write some code tying up to this particular sentence. They'll write a code that where user can automatically open the browser and go to this website URL. Okay, they write an automation code to complete that scenario. And now for this when, they will tie up some code where your code automatically search for a product which does not exist. And they'll also tie up code here to say that verify if no results are displaying on the page. So if you write code somewhere, how that code will be tied up to this? Now let me show you one simple example of Cucumber. So I have a scenario like this, given user is on landing page and when user searched for a product, user added 3 items to the cart and user proceed to checkout and verify user has the ability to place the order. So this is the requirement and at the same time this is the test case, right? Now if you want to automate it, now there is one line here, add 3 items to product to the cart. So you have to come up with some code to automate, right? So that code you will write in some another file like this. Okay, don't worry about all this. We'll everything learn step by step later. So you will write code somewhere here which will help you to add items to cart, right? Now code you write in some file, it will link it up to here. Okay, so step by step we will execute this future file, but ultimately the code which is tied up to these lines will get executed. I'm just throwing you one example. So like this, Cucumber will give you all the necessary framework features for your test automation execution. Okay, but do remember, Cucumber does not automate anything. It provides you an environment to work on these BDD related testing formats, but it is not a tool which automates your web browser. You can use Cucumber for any automation tool. Now same scenario you can write for mobile also, right? Given I landed on my app landing page, when I search for product in my app, then no results are displayed, right? Now to automate your mobile app, you might be using some another automation tool called Appium. If you want to do it in the web, you might use Selenium, right? So if you want to do some database testing, that also you can define like this. Given I had a database connection, when I fire the query to search the products, then database results are not displayed. You write some code which helps you in database automation. So Cucumber does not care what automation you use. It gives you environment to provide a stable executable automation with lot of framework features, right? So there are some different other framework features in the market, like we say as keyword driven framework, data driven framework, and hybrid framework. There are different frameworks for test automation development. And we also have another testing frameworks like TestNG, JUnit, where they provide parameterization, data driven testing, tags, listeners, lot of things those tools provide. Similarly, Cucumber also provide everything, but only condition is that Cucumber supports this BDD. If your test case is defined like this, no matter what automation you use backend, you can still use Cucumber. Okay, so that's a high level introduction, but later from the next lecture, we will deep dive into each and every concept of Cucumber and its terminologies and its framework features from scratch. Okay, don't worry. So now you understood, right? Difference between Cucumber and Selenium. So Selenium is the tool for automating web test cases. Cucumber help to design framework for your Selenium test. Okay, you can simply write Selenium test in one standalone code, but that it's not industry standard. You have to create a framework out of it. So Cucumber help you that, but only condition is that those Selenium test we should mention in the BDD standard like this. So this is the where everyone in industry is moving towards, because this is the language where all the people are commonly used. So there is no conflict between requirement phase or development phase or testing phase. Everyone can use common documentation if your test case defines in these standards. All right. So this Cucumber can be created in different languages. So that means you can create this framework in Java, you can do Ruby, you can do Python, JavaScript, right? It's originally written in Ruby, but it's mostly used with Cucumber Java these days. You know, right? Java is a famous. So If you are working with any Java related Selenium automation, then people may choose Cucumber if they want to write it in the BDD format, right? So this course exclusively focus on creating Cucumber framework for Selenium automation tests. So overall, this course is organized in two parts. This is important, guys. So part 1, we will exclusively discuss about Cucumber framework features, like what does different features Cucumber provide to work on these BDD test cases and its ability to implement and enhance BDD scenarios. This is very important. But ultimately, when we start with part 2, we will see how these Cucumber features will help us to integrate and build a Selenium automation framework from scratch. See, our ultimate goal is to develop a Selenium Cucumber framework, which is a part 2. But to reach this part 2, you should have good understanding of Cucumber, which we are going to learn in part 1 of this course. Once you are familiar with all the Cucumber framework concepts, then using those Cucumber framework concepts, we are going to develop one Selenium framework from scratch in part 2. That is where we wind up the course, right? And Selenium basic knowledge is expected. So the only prerequisite what I expect from this course is a basic knowledge of Selenium. That should be enough. Cucumber knowledge, everything you will learn in part 1, and you will be stunned by the way we develop an industry standard framework in part 2. We'll bring a lot of cool features and build top-notch framework which can be ready-made, reused anywhere in any real-time projects. All right. So from the next lecture, let's get started with part 1, and from scratch we will see what is Cucumber, what are the Cucumber features, terminologies, everything we will detailedly focus. So I hope this introductory lecture made you understand how we are going to take a journey in this course, and let's get started with part 1, Cucumber terminologies. Thank you.